Welcome, my friends. Welcome back to Songs of Psalms. We are back for another day, another episode, another beautiful day in the presence of the Lord, in the land of the living. We are back to talk about Songs of Psalms. And so if you've been following us, you know that we've been on this journey with Psalm 96. Just a simple psalm. That's the title of it. It just says a psalm. We don't know who the writer is, and but this psalmist wanted us to focus not just on singing, but on understanding the importance of singing and making a declaration in singing. And so in yesterday's episode, we were talking about the benefits that songs and singing have on our emotional being, on the way that we live and the way that we think, the way that we can come out of negative situations. And if you didn't catch that episode, you can go right onto my page and go back and listen to it. I shared a little bit of a personal testimony on how when I was going through this mental heaviness, like this mental sadness, it was all mental, right? Because there was nothing physically wrong with me, nothing circumstantially, I don't even know what I just said there. Circumstantial is what I was trying to say. Something that, I wasn't going through anything, but I had this sadness, this dark cloud that was over me. And I was going like that for a couple of days until the Lord just reminded me, why don't you write a song? Just write a song. And when I began to pour out my feelings and my emotions and the things that I was like holding inside, when I began to write that down into a song, it was like that release that just needed to come out of my system. I needed to come out of my system. And once it did, I felt better. It's like, I don't want to say it in such a crude way, but it's like, when your body is made, whatever you consume has to come out, right? Whatever you consume has to come out, and then you feel better once it does. And so it's the same thing with our emotions. When we have negative emotions, they have to come out. They can't stay bottled up inside of our soul, because if they do, it is not a good and pleasant thing for us. So we've been talking about Psalm 96, and I felt like the Lord inspired me to think about, what is your song story? What is your song story? If a song was written about you, what would it say? What would the song say about you? What type of song would it be? Would it be a happy song? Would it be a song that was joyful and had like instrumentals that were just high energy instrumentals, because the story it was telling about you was the story of goodness and of triumph and of victory? Or would your story be your song story, would it be a sad song, right? Would it be like a slow and mellow song which had minor chords, and it sounded something sad like, because your story was not a happy one, and so the song story that was written about you would not be a great one. So what is your song story? What genre would it be? Would it be pop? Would it be R&B? Would it be gospel? Would it be Latin? There's so many genres. Would it be country? Country music is beautiful, actually, because it tells stories. I think I would like my song story to be a country song, because I think, to me, country music, I don't really listen to it, but when I do listen to really good country music, it tells stories. It's just beautiful, and it's not my style, but I would want my song story probably to be a country song. But would your song story talk about your accomplishments? Would it tell of the things you've done? Would it inspire other people to want to do what you've done? Or would your song story tell of all your troubles and the things that you've been facing and the things that you're still trying to resolve? Right? What would your song story be like? Would it speak of love, the type of love that you've given to the world, the type of love that you've shared with others, with your family? Would your song story be about your family? Or would it be about just the things that only matter to you? Would your song story talk about things that you wish you could do, wish that you could have? Right? That tells a lot about how your life has played out. What is your song story? And I think that, we have to think in these terms. Like, if our life was written out in a story, in a book, in a song, what would it say? What would it say? And so let's take a look at Psalm 96, because I believe this is God's song story. I believe this is the Father's song story for us. This is what He wants us to know about Him. Now, the last few sessions that we've had about this psalm, we really haven't moved past verses 1 and 2. We've really been stuck on 1 and 2. But let's go a little bit further today. What is God's song story? What is Psalm 96 telling us about our Father? So it says, sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord, all the earth. Sing to the Lord. Praise His name. Proclaim His salvation day after day. Verse 3, declare His glory among the nations, His marvelous deeds among all the peoples. Now this is the part that is God's song story. Verse 4, for great is the Lord and most worthy of praise. He is to be feared above all gods, for all the gods of the nations are idols. But the Lord made the heavens. Splendor and majesty are before Him. Strength and glory are in His sanctuary. Ascribe to the Lord, all you families of the earth. Ascribe to the Lord glory and strength. Ascribe to the Lord the glory due His name. Bring an offering and come into His courts. Worship the Lord in the splendor of His holiness. Tremble before Him, all the earth. Say among the nations, the Lord reigns. The world is firmly established. It cannot be moved. He will judge the peoples with equity. Let the heavens rejoice. Let the earth be glad. Let the sea resound and all that is in it. Let the fields be jubilant and everything in them. Let all the trees of the forest sing for joy. Let all creation rejoice before the Lord, for He comes. He comes to judge the earth. He will judge the world in righteousness and the peoples in His faithfulness. So like I just said, Psalm 96 is God's song story. And just as we were saying a few moments ago, what is your song story? What if a song was written about you? What would it say? What would it talk about? What would be the things that would stand out for everyone to see? If your life was wrapped up in a song, what would that song sound like? Would it be happy? Would it be jubilant? Would it be victorious sounding? Or would it be sad and mellow? We have the ability to change our song story. Let's say we've had a difficult life, a life that doesn't always come out the way, things don't always turn out the way we want. We experience a lot of sorrow. You know that you can turn that song around. You can turn your life around so that your life doesn't reflect this sadness and defeat. There should be victory in your song, and we believe and we declare that today, as of today, that your song story will turn around, that you'll be able to turn away from the sadness and the sorrow and the trouble and the trial. And when you come to the Lord, that the Lord will give you such a fresh perspective, such a fresh way of thinking and doing and responding, that you would be able to come out of that situation. Just like I was saying yesterday, when I was in that funk, I was in a funk for a little while. And and the minute I came back to the Lord and I was like, Lord, help me, like, boom, he said, write a song. I wrote my song, and I unleashed all of that negativity that was in me. And before I knew it, it was all gone, and I was back to the place I was supposed to be. So we have the ability, my friends, to turn a situation around. We just have to trust in the Lord. But here in Psalm 96, we're listening, we're hearing, we're getting a sneak peek into the Lord's song story. I have to say that slowly. It's like, my speaking has not woken up yet, and even I've been up for a while. So it says, declare the glory, his glory among the nations, his marvelous deeds among all the peoples. For great is the Lord and most worthy of praise. He is to be feared above all gods. For all the gods of the nations are idols, but the Lord made the heavens. So this song story right here is saying, is pointing something out that needs to be known. It is saying, only our God is worthy of praise. Only Adonai. Only El Shaddai, Elohim. Only He is worthy of praise. Why? Why is He worthy to be praised? Because all the gods of the nations are idols. That's the things that other people trust in. They're not God. They're not salvation. They don't bring healing. They don't bring restoration. They don't bring strength and peace. Anything else that you put your trust in that does not come from the Most High God is not going to give you what you need. Right? Sometimes people they lack what's the word? They lack the ability to see themselves, right? To see themselves for who they are, for who they've been created to be. And so then they're looking for validation from others. They're looking for somebody else to reflect back to them who they are. And so they're looking for love. They search for love, and they make relationships an idol. They make a relationship an idol because they're looking for love, and they're asking, they're lacking it in themselves. They can't see themselves for who they are, and so they're wanting to be loved. They're wanting to be accepted. They're wanting to be depended on, and so they look for love in the wrong places, and that becomes an idol in their lives. And so I believe the Lord wants us to know who we are. Just as the Word of God declares who He is, God knows who He is. He is to be feared because He is the one true God. Every other God is an idol. Every other thing you put your trust in cannot give you what you need. And so when it says here, for great is the Lord and most worthy of praise, He is to be feared above all gods. And feared is not like you have to be afraid of Him. You have to tremble. You have to, like walk on eggshells. That's not the type of fear that this is talking about. It's talking about reverence, respect. Right? Like when you're young, you respected your parents. You feared your parents, not because they were scary. Some parents are scary, but the good parents, right? You're not afraid of them. You fear them because you respect them. And so that's what this is talking about. He is to be respected above all gods, because every other god is just not a real God. For all the gods of the nations are idols, but the Lord, He made the heavens. That's that's a big deal. Splendor and majesty are before Him. Strength and glory are in His sanctuary. That's what He is surrounded by. He is surrounded by strength and glory. Every other false idol doesn't offer that. Every false idol that it doesn't compete, right? It does not compete with the Lord. But when we put our trust in things that are false, things that are right, you could put your trust in money, right? Some people trust their money, that becomes an idol. Some people put their trust in people. Some people put their trust in rituals, or they'll use, like an omen, like I don't know, like a little thing, a crystal or whatever, and they put their trust in that, and they're like, if I put this on, if I wear this is going to help me have a good day, it's going to ward off evil. No, that's not how it works, my friends. Those things do not have splendor nor glory. Those things cannot save you when you're going through something. It has no power. It has no power. So we're going to leave it here. We're going to come back to this because I'm out of time. We're going to come back to this, but we're going to hear what Psalm 96 has to say. What is Psalm 96's song story about the Lord? What does it say about him? And what do we need to know about who he is, so that we can learn to depend and trust only in him? All right? Okay, let's get out of here. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine on you. The Lord lift up his countenance towards you and be gracious to you. And the Lord give you shalom. Have a blessed day. I'll see you back here again. Ciao.